G'day folks. Today I thought I'd introduce you to TitanX because as a week one investor, I have already made a 64% return in Ethereum. And that's in Cashflow without taking out any of the principal invested. So what you should know about TitanX. So there's two approaches you can take. For the record, I've taken both. So you can either mine or you can stake. So what I've decided to do, because I understand that longer pays better and bigger pays better, is I've maxed out the length of both the miner and the staking length. So if I went with, say, a 28-day mine, you can see essentially the result. Whereas if you max it out, you can see how much more TitanX you're going to get at the end of the mining period. So naturally, I wanted to max that out. And if you set the mining power to 100, it means you pay more in ETH terms. So you could reduce the mining power if you don't have the 0.21 ETH, and that's totally fine. But if you do have the full amount, you can then go the max mining power to get the maximum amount of TitanX at the end of the mining period. So I've maxed out both of those settings personally because for me, at least, I want the most amount of TitanX possible. And I don't mind how long I have to wait to get it either. The other option you've got here is batch create miners. So what you can do here is you can actually choose, let's say you've got a lot of ETH, you could even increase these numbers. Sadly for me, I'm not an ETH whale, but if you can do whether it's 10, maybe you can afford 3, whatever the number, you do have the option rather than just doing single miner each time to do several miners at the same time. So, and it looks like it maxes out at 100 anyway here. So if anyone can do that, well, they could well be winning this next bull market, I quietly think. So, but basically, again, you've got the analytics on the right-hand side to look at. And as with anything, the earlier you get in, the better. So with the mining, you'll find that after each passing day, you've got the day count up here. It's going to cost more ETH to be able to mine the same amount of TitanX. So that's something to be mindful of. So the earlier you get in, if you want to get into TitanX, the better if you want to maximize the amount of TitanX for that part of the education. So the next thing you can do, and again, I've done both, and I'm really glad I've done both, is you can also stake. So basically what you would be doing here is you would be buying TitanX off the market. So you can go to whether it's Uniswap, whether it's 1inch, whether it's Matcha XYZ. You've got all those various options. And basically you put in the amount that you want to stake. And again, the more you stake, the more you're going to get in returns, just as I'm showing you here, just to get a bit of a feel. So again, you've got all the numbers on this side. And again, you've got the share rate increases. So basically, the earlier you get in with the staking, the more your returns will be for that same amount of TitanX staked. So again, the earlier you get in theory, the better. And also you've got various payouts after a certain amount of days. So in an ideal world, you want to get in if you're going to stake before that next payout day. But to go into the payout days, so here's what you've got. So basically, if you're staking, you'll be receiving payments, which you'll get under this, you'll get it under payouts. So you'll get the numbers here that'll show you how much you can claim. And then you just claim it from this screen. But essentially, you've got 8-day payouts, you've got 28-day payouts, 90-day payouts, 369-day payouts, and 888-day payouts. And so it just means essentially every 8 days you're getting another payout. So that's fantastic. And just again, from my first 8-day payout, I received 64% in terms of Ethereum returns. So that's phenomenal. And I think there's a good likelihood that with the next 8-day payout, I've already made back the principal and I've still got the principal invested. And I'm still going to have the bonus of getting all these payouts continually over the course of years. So essentially for me, TitanX I'm looking at as my cash flow foundation in Ethereum terms. And I'm viewing it ultimately as a superior alternative to whether it's Rocket Pool ETH, whether it's staked ETH in whatever form, whether it's Alito staked ETH or whatever you might choose to use. Ultimately, TitanX, with the amount of payouts, I'm going to be doing significantly better, is at least what I'm calculating at this stage. And you've also got buy and burn. So there are burn mechanics built in with TitanX, and because this is a fair launch crypto, essentially it started from a supply of zero, whereby not even the developers of TitanX have any supply. So essentially, with that starting from zero and having that burn mechanic over time, because as more TitanX is mined, well, that means the supply is going to increase. Well, you've got the buy and burn as a mechanism to ensure that the supply doesn't go out of control, so that we don't have a downward spiral in price terms as you've had with, say, Zen, for example. And not saying Zen is a bad investment either for any Zenians out there. Certainly for those who have mined Zen, they've actually done quite well too. And you've got all the various information here, and you've got tools. So if you want to calculate things, you can do your calculations here, both for mining and staking. So before you invest, I highly recommend checking out these screens and then determining whether you believe, based on the information here, that it will be a good investment for you based on your priorities. For those looking for the most detailed information, so you've got this screen here, so you just go under more and then you go docs, which will bring up this, and you've essentially got all the information that you will be needing here. But if you are thinking about investing in TitanX, don't just take my opinion. I'm not giving you any financial advice whatsoever today. What I will advise, however, is if anything I've said has interested you today, go do some more research, dig deeper, get some additional opinions before you make your own informed decision as to whether this is something that suits you. For me, TitanX is already an investment that is paying off quite significantly, where for me as a cash flow investor, TitanX is a beautiful opportunity where I can just keep accumulating ETH constantly. And it means with that ETH I earn, I can either, maybe I choose to reinvest it in TitanX. Maybe I decide to mine some more TitanX. Maybe it means that I choose to stake some more TitanX. I've got those options. But it also means that I can either keep the ETH, whether it's for gas fees, or maybe I decide to trade it for maybe more HEX if I want to increase my HEX position. Or again, I might bridge it over to Pulse Chain if I want to increase my Pulse Chain or Pulse X position. So that's really my intention behind being in TitanX. I'm really after the cash flow. And for me personally, with the supply to certainly in the early days and for the first at least year, presumably increasing quite significantly, well, I'm not going to make any price guarantees around what's going to happen with the TitanX price. There'll be times it goes up, there'll be times it goes down. For me, because I'm here for the cash flow, I don't care at all about what happens with the TitanX price. All I care about ultimately is the staking returns, and within the mining, looking to ultimately be able to stake a much greater amount. So that's what I care about. And look, ultimately, as Richard Hart has taught at least those in the know, well, trading is ultimately for losers. All you're doing is enriching the exchanges on which you're trading on. And you've ultimately got one person at one end, one person on the other, trying to ultimately rip off the other person. So for me, that's not what crypto is about. It's really something that you should really think about. What are your objectives, whether you're after growth or whether you're after cash flow. TitanX, for me at least, is a great cash flowing opportunity, and one that certainly in the early months I'm going to be quite likely putting more funds into. Particularly this month being month one, I really want to get in as much as I can before the 28-day payout, which is looking quite juicy if we have a look here at the global payout figures. So for me personally, I really want to plow as much in before I can, as much as I can before the 28-day payout, because ultimately I want to maximize my returns. And from there, I might eventually, maybe whether it's after the next month, maybe it's the month after, I'll eventually get to a stage where I'm satisfied with my TitanX position, and then I will be diversifying out to ensure that I've got good positions in other things, because ultimately I don't believe that Ethereum is the be-all end-all, just accumulating Ethereum payouts. There are other cryptos that I do believe will absolutely roar in this upcoming bull market. So those are some of my thoughts. Let me know what your initial thoughts are with TitanX. If any of you have decided to mine TitanX, state TitanX, let me know as well, what are some of your early thoughts? Have you had a positive experience just as I have? That'd be interesting to hear as well for some additional feedback. And for my next crypto video, I'm thinking about creating some power rankings. So let me know if that's something of interest, but I'm thinking about doing, maybe it's a top 5, maybe it's a top 10 crypto power rankings as to what I believe will achieve the best results in the upcoming bull market. So let me know if that's of interest. But yeah, anyway, folks, see you in the next video.